90 minutes on the exercise bike today in Zwift at an average heart rate of about 125 beats per minute. I had a couple of really high peaks in there in terms of heart rate intensity, but for the most part, I think I was cruising in the low 120s and even in like the 1 teens, just trying to keep it easy on some of the flatter parts. Riding through Central Park in some sort of elevated trail, light rail type of looking system. It was kind of crazy. Lots of fun though in there, getting around and hitting some pretty steep inclines. There were 17% inclines, which I don't ride bikes in like real life, other than bike sharing for commuting purposes. So like I don't really know what a 17% incline is like, but judging by everyone else around me, we were crawling up the hill at like 5 miles per hour. So it was like really super slow. So I just tried to crank down the intensity on my exercise bike, so that way I was like working really hard just to maintain a similar pace as everybody else. And I was huffing and puffing and having a hard time with it. It turns out I hate hills on an exercise bike or in Zwift just as much as I hate hills in real life when running. So at least that is still a consistent theme for me, but it was good to try something different in there. Got my first kind of like real long workout in Zwift. Previously, before that, I think about an hour is the longest that I had gone. Today was actually technically an hour and 20 minutes on the app, according to the workout, but a total of 90 minutes total because I had some sensor issues just getting paired up in the morning, which has been a real frustration point with me the past several days using Zwift, is that like my kind of janky setup takes a long time to kind of get figured out. Today, I tried to use it with the Apple TV, and I kept having major issues because my Stride foot pod getting picked up by the app, and that will make it so that I can't detect my speed sensor. And that speed sensor tends to be pretty finicky in terms of getting detected. I can always pick it up in the Wahoo app. So I have the Wahoo speed, cadence sensors, and also the heart rate monitor. All three of those tend to get picked up really fast, but the speed sensor, sometimes it'll be like detected and connected to it, but it won't be sending data. It's just, I don't know why it's doing that. It's just being a little bit finicky for me, and I had some problems. I ended up spending about a total of, and like the way you turn it on is by moving. And so I figure I'd just hop on the bike and start pedaling to make those things operate. And I noticed that I'd spent about 10 minutes trying to get everything sorted today, because I wanted to use Apple TV. It kept picking up that Stride foot pod. It was annoying. I couldn't figure out a way to make it not pick up the Stride foot pod. I even tried charging the Stride foot pod, thinking there must be some sort of default setting where when it's detected that it's being charged by USB, it's clearly not on a foot, so it doesn't need to send out and communicate by Bluetooth to anything, but it still does. And so the ultimate thing I had to do was I had to unpair my Stride foot pod from my phone, which is fine because I normally use the watch to connect it anyway, so I don't think that's going to be a major annoyance or issue for me. So I did that, and then it was still, even though it was unpaired from my phone, getting picked up by something somehow on the Apple TV. So I ended up powering down. I ended up force closing all my apps, all like the Zwift app and the Wahoo Ticker app, or the Wahoo app, and then restarting the phone. And then that seemed to work. And so I actually had to do 2 restarts to get it to kind of get all sorted and figured out. So it took a while, 10 minutes of just cycling before I was starting cycling. So I'm hoping that, now that I've got things a little bit like figured out a little bit more, hopefully that'll work. I still didn't get it to work on the Apple TV. I was just like very happy once I could just get it to work on my phone. So I've still never actually used the Zwift companion app during a ride before. It's something that I would really like to do. But it turned out at the end of the day or at the end of the morning to work out for me, because not having it on the Apple TV was good because my daughter woke up super early on a Saturday morning for no real reason, and she wanted to watch her shows. So I did spend the majority of today's ride watching Austin and Ally, which is a Disney show intended for like kids and tweens, which I actually kind of enjoy quite a bit. So that was not too bad, but definitely probably a strange viewing experience for my daughter to like watch her regular TV show with me like, going crazy on an exercise bike, kind of in her line of sight, in her way almost. So One of the things that I did notice was that there were a ton of people on the ride when I was out there. And every time I've been on a ride in Zwift lately, there's just been so many people. DC Rainmaker tweeted about it. He said that, like, when he was looking at it, there was like 34,000 people in the app at the same time. And just now at like 5 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday here in Chicago, there's like mid 20s and thousands in terms of people on the app at the same time. So just really fascinating that, like, one, that the app isn't having any issues, that it seems to be working just fine, and that there's so many people in there looking for a new place to work out, because I don't think that this is normally how busy it is in there. So it's kind of like another like way to remind me that, like, we're all kind of in it together. Literally, we're in that virtual space together, but we're all like in it together as well. And so we're all just connected and looking for ways to stay connected. And that makes me feel good. So hopefully you guys are doing well where you are and staying connected with the people around you at a socially responsible distance and a safe distance. I hope you guys are all staying healthy and figuring out ways to stay sane, stay active in the ways that are allowed and that are safe for you where you are. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Yo, what's going on?